There's always more space than things in space. You can verify that tonight. The sky is maybe clear tonight, still be clear. And you look up you go away from the few lights that there are, you can simply see vast stars, suns. Most of the stars that you see, except for the few planets, are suns at great distances, and you only see a tiny fraction of the infinite vastness of the universe. And when you look, you can see there are two dimensions. There are things in space, and there's space. It's so easy. There are things in space, and there is space. But that which is awe-inspiring about when you look up there is not the things in space. What is awe-inspiring is the vastness of it. Infinite, unimaginable vastness of space. Billions, not just billions of suns, billions of worlds, of galaxies. Each galaxy consists of billions of suns. Vast. And you look, it stops your mind when you truly look. You go, unimaginable vastness. Yes, the suns and whatever else is there is beautiful to look at, but that sense of sacredness, of unimaginable vastness, is the space that you look into. And this is just the external version of what is within you. Within you also, because you're only a microcosmic version of the universe, in you also there are things, objects in your consciousness, and there is the vastness of consciousness itself, the uncreated. Buddha calls it the unborn, the uncreated, the unformed. He doesn't, and this is so wise to put it like that, because by saying that, it is almost impossible to make it into a mental object, because the word itself denies itself as an object. It denies itself by saying the unborn. On the one hand, you have a word that is an object in consciousness, but the object in consciousness denies its very existence as an object. This is why the Buddhist teaching is so profound. So he says to his monks, there is, O monks, that's how he addresses his monks, in the translation, there is, O monks, an unborn, uncreated, unformed, unmanifested. And then it goes on, it's a little bit stylized sutra. If there were not an unborn, uncreated, unformed, unmanifested, there would be no escape from the world of the born, the created, the formed, and the manifested. Beautiful pointer. So, isn't it amazing that you encounter it not by running away from the world of forms around you, not by attempting to escape the limitations that the world of forms seems to impose on you continuously, and there's this longing for freedom in every human being. And most human beings look at their life situation as a set of limitations around them. It usually is, because every form is limited. Even if you were extremely wealthy, after a while, that would become a limitation on you. You have to have walls around your big house and need bodyguards to go out. So, and then there are the limitations that the body at some point becomes a limitation on you. No matter how fit it is at this moment, eventually you'll grow old and it may be a little more difficult to get up. Oh, my back hurts. Or a more serious limitation. And many limitations happen because form is limitation. And there's a longing in humans for freedom from limitation. Freedom. And people believe that this freedom can be found in some situation. This is not to say that you cannot improve your life situation. It is wonderful to do that. Work to improve your life situation. Live in a nicer place. But not as an believing that that will free you. It's nice because when you play with the world of form, it's nice to have beautiful forms around you if you can, but don't depend on them too much. Because you juggle these forms and then one drops. And then before you know another one drops and then somebody throws you on more. Okay. So the escape from limitation is not the escape from the limitations of form in your life. It's through the seeming limitations. By allowing the form of this moment, which quite often seems to be a limitation on your life, by allowing it internally to be as it is. So one could almost say you walk through the limitation, not away from it. You don't run away from it. You face it. And as you face it, allow it to be, it's no longer a limitation. That's inner freedom. So you find inner freedom often in the worst of circumstances. People have found it. They found it in prison camps. They found it through serious illness. They found it through serious disability. They found it through loss of everything that they had and identified with. And suddenly they were driven into acceptance of what is. And then the very limitation around them became an opening. And so some people in prison are living this teaching also. I get more and more letters from people in prison who have become free in prison. And some reported, a couple, that they got released prematurely and they were not even up for parole. Suddenly it happened. But it was a secondary bonus. The miracle is that often a difficult situation, even on the external level, changes and shows a more benign face. But that is a secondary bonus that you get as you surrender. And that it is truly miraculous what you can experience as there's a shift in that consciousness, how quickly an external situation can turn around, how quickly help can come in, because you now cooperate with life, which is now, never not now. You cooperate with this moment. There's no resistance to life, which is now. And then life can help, because the entire universe is a field of intelligence. Nothing is dead. Everything is an expression of that intelligence, that consciousness. It's in the very space in this room. And then it gets, through the human, it becomes focalized, but it's all pervasive. The human is like a magnifying glass that you hold, there's the sunshine, and then you have, it concentrates it. But it's everywhere. And then life becomes helpful in sometimes miraculous ways. Suddenly the right person comes, the right event comes, the right thing comes. But this is what Jesus calls the things that you need will be added unto you. it is secondary. The inner shift is primary, what Jesus describes as finding the kingdom of heaven, which is here now, not over there, some other place, some other time. That is primary, that shift. And then what happens in the world of things is secondary. But miraculously, more often than not, a shift in the world of things will reflect the inner shift. And if it doesn't, the energy that you bring to it will change it. So, in other words, maybe they won't release you yet from prison. Maybe you're still there, and yet you become a factor in that place that usually would be called bad, that is healing and brings enormous help and healing to those around you. There are people who are in prison and teach this already. So they are exactly where they are meant to be. It's amazing how either the situation changes or that which you bring to the situation changes. And so the quality feel of the situation becomes different. And so the work then is, you can now see, to welcome the moment, no matter what form it takes, particularly if it looks not good on the surface. That's where the your work, if you can call it work, I don't like that word, but particularly when this work becomes powerful, when applied to all those many events in your life that look not right, wrong, shouldn't have happened, it's not what I want. There you apply, becoming friendly with what is. Then the limitation of what is becomes your portal into freedom from the form, your dependency on the forms, your inner dependency for your sense of who you are, your sense of well-being, of peace, on forms. That goes. And so then you can say what Jesus said, I have overcome the world, he said. People didn't understand what he was talking about. Maybe one or two understood. How can he say, I've overcome the world? He has no power at all. Where's his army? He's powerless. He was talking about the inner realm, dependency on things for his inner state. Because all the teachings of humanity, the deep teachings, they do not come from a person. They are nobody's possession or achievement. They come when someone, a person, a human form, becomes transparent in their personal selfhood. The objects become loose and let through space consciousness. Well, there are still some objects in the mind, yes, this and that, but not self-identification with the objects, so they don't form this crust of self that blocks that which is underneath. So it comes through. You become transparent to that spaciousness, and then something comes through you into this world. It may be through words, it may be through action, it may be through a simple invisible emanation of your being that does something even to this world of things. It changes things here too. It makes it more harmonious, a more benign place to be, a less harsh place. Yes, where polarities still exist, but in a more benign way. In other words, you become an instrument for healing in a very wide sense of the word, for peace. Peace comes through you into this world. And it is the peace that you cannot understand, that Jesus didn't understand either, because he said, the peace that passes all understanding. So in other words, he didn't understand it either. His mind didn't understand that where it comes from, the depth of it. You become a field of peace in this world. It's almost as if something from another dimension came through you into this world of form and affects the world of form. So this is your destiny also, to become that transparency as the crust of identification with mental objects breaks up, dissolves, something shines through. And so in many of you, you already bring, as you go out into the world, you bring peace into situations simply by being there, by stepping out of the old reactive consciousness. We'll be talking again what that means in relationships in more detail. So when you allow the form that this moment takes to be, your own form, the psychological form of me, becomes somewhat transparent. When you resist the form that this moment takes, your own psychological form, the form of me, becomes more solidified, rigid, impenetrable. And you can actually feel that in yourself. When you go into a situation and you have contraction and resistance, you argue, you need to be right. And you can see in that need to argue, to be right, to win, fight, your own, the psychological sense of self contracts and becomes more hardened. The me, you get a stronger sense of self, stronger sense of who you are. But it's the illusion of who you are. When you can triumph over somebody and show them that you are right and not they, or that you have more than they, or you know more than they, or can do more than they, or you are more miserable than anybody else, it works either way, as long as it's more. You are ill, I've been ill for years. Mind, I have more than you. I may not have more money than you, but I'm more ill than you. And this is the madness of the human condition. When you resist what is, the form hardens the self. And when you allow what is, it softens. And as it softens, it becomes transparent. And something shines through that is spacious. You become spacious. And I am sure it also does something even to your physical form. Although scientists don't know, haven't discovered what that is. Maybe they haven't examined a surrendered human being yet. Maybe they haven't heard about it yet. And as humanity begins to live in this way, or a larger part of humanity, of course, it is likely that the physical organism will also undergo changes. Perhaps there'll be even more space than there's already. Already you consist of 99% empty space. Scientists know that. The atoms, the space between the atoms that make up your body is so vast that you are more than 99% empty space. In Zen Buddhism, they have satori. Satori is a sudden flash, a sudden realization. Not always lasting, but it's there, sometimes accompanied by shouting or laughter. And then you have the Chinese fat Buddha who never stops laughing. Continuous satori. Tomorrow evening, when it comes, of course, it won't be tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, I believe there's a film that you can go and see. That is a very good film. It's called Fierce Grace, about the life of Ram Dass and his stroke and how that changed him, and the meaning of adversity and pain. It's kind of illustrates also what we have been addressing here. Also, if any questions need to be asked, there is no, don't want to devalue questions. No question, however, is ultimately vital. Many questions arise from the mind, but there are some questions that you feel you truly need to know the answer to, and it may not have yet come through you. If you become still enough, the answer to any question, the answer if you need it, it'll come through you. But if there should be questions, you can write them on a little piece of paper and leave them. There may be a basket or something like that there tomorrow, after the session tomorrow. And I'll look through them, and maybe a few will jump out and address them. A few will maybe questions that are very helpful to everybody, and questions that are purely mental, I may not have time to answer, nor may I have the answer to them. For example, can you describe the lives of the future Buddhas? Or who were the past Buddhas? Or what about the life on planet so-and-so? It's not vital to know that right now for your liberation. So use whatever the moment presents, both the beauty that is out here and anything else that may happen. They are all openings. The beauty too is an opening. The beauty that you see, the beauty that you listen to. Remember what we started with today? Enter Zen from there, from this moment, whatever it is. Pay attention, be alert, watch. If you resist this moment, you cannot be attentive to what is. Remember to work with the sounds, bring awareness to the sounds around you. And sense the awareness itself as yourself. So you are that awareness, you are that consciousness, and the personal appearance, the appearance of you as a person, is a temporary disguise of consciousness. Hide and seek. Let's pretend that I'm a human, a person. Oh, that'll be fun. And let's play some dramas. Yes, but for the dramas you have to forget completely who you are. Okay, then let me forget completely who I am and play the drama. And then you get tired of the drama after a few 100,000 years. And then after we've played, let's wake up. Oh. Thank you.